Hi, Anna.
Hi, Tanya. Whoa, it's a crazy zoo out there.
It's a crazy zoo in my brain.
Hi, I'm Anna,
And I'm Tanya.
and we're the Paradise Patriots. We're here to talk to you today about HR10.
It's not a 10. On a scale of 1 to 10,
It's a big zero.
it's a big 0.
It's a big, I'm going to say it. If you don't want to hear swear words, just plug your ears for a minute. It's a major clusterfuck. That the Senate, is the House or Senate running it?
House.
The House is ramming it
Rammed it.
down our throats.
Rammed it.
So you want to start? What is it? What is HR10?
HR10 is a partisan bill, all Republican, 40 co-sponsors, was introduced in the House on April 27th of this year, passed yesterday, June 8th, during the Comey trial.
During the
testimony,
Comey trials.
right during his testimony. Now, that wasn't a coincidence.
And what's the name of it?
The Financial Choice Act.
The Financial Choice Act. That should give you an idea. That's going to leave us no choice, but it's going to leave the big banks lots of choices and lots of ways to rip us off.
To rip us a new one.
And more than one.
In many ways.
Right.
They've got choices.
They have infinite choices. It should be the infinite choice to screw the consumer bill.
Yes, House lawmakers on Thursday called it the crown jewel of the GOP-led Regulatory Reform Act.
Yeah. So let's just. It was the bill is 589 pages. Obviously, we didn't read all of it.
I could barely stand the summary. It was so sick.
But let's go over the highlights of what are the big things that they took out of it. Let's start there. What did they take out?
Most of the consumer protection consumer protections
Bureau.
that went into place in the 2010 Consumer Protection Act after the 2008 recession.
And why did the 2008 collapse happen? Because we didn't have any regulation.
Right, correct. Now they're too regulated. Apparently the banks are too regulated. They're whining. They've been whining since 2010 when the regulations went into place. Mm-hmm. And they won. They win, at least in the House, right, as of right now.
And even the regulations that went into effect, most people agreed they weren't strong enough. It didn't break up the big banks, did it?
I just found this article while we were researching this today that the Federal Reserve gave an extension on complying with part of the Volcker Rule to 3 banks.
And that's been since 2010.
Well, it had an effective date of, I think, April 1st, 2014. Mm-hmm. And so for 3 years,
had 3 years already.
Haven't had to
comply
anyway. So now they want to get rid of the Volcker. That's one of the rules that'll be repealed with the Financial Choice Act. And so they're trying to cover their tracks because they're not even making all the banks comply in the first place.
And the other thing that has happened is it failed to break up the big banks. So those between 2000, whenever that was, 2010, and now we are in 2017, mm-hmm. they've even been able to consolidate more power.
They sure have.
So that's one of the reasons why there was always the issue of Dodd-Frank and the other things that came up weren't strong enough to begin with.
The Volcker Rule, though, at least was a start because it put restrictions on the proprietary trading and the relationship with the hedge funds,
right,
and using the private equity funds, right,
and using people's for example, if you had an account with the Bank of America or JP Morgan, if you had just a simple savings and checking account there, they could basically gamble with your money,
right,
on investments and derivatives and all the kinds of things that
they can gamble with your money to make them profit,
right. But if they lose, you lose.
Right. Well, now those protections will definitely be gone.
Okay, so those protections are taken out. So it kind of takes out that partitioning of
investments
and just a consumer bank accounts. Correct. It takes out that partitioning.
It's that specific type of investments that are very high risk.
And one of the big things is it takes out the Protection Bureau. So
yes.
The ability for people to file a complaint and have that complaint followed through by a objective third party will be gone. That power will be taken away from them. And what were there? There were 1.1 million complaints and a $12 million recoup for those millions of people.
12 billion.
Right,
It was a
$12
$12
billion.
billion recoup for that 1.1 million complaints.
Right, since 2011, I think.
Through March of this year.
Right.
And now that bureau is not going to be allowed to do that anymore.
Right. The other things that are repealed is people will no longer be able to sue their bank.
Mm-hmm.
They'll be forced to go into arbitration rather than to go through the judicial system. It took away safeguards for pension investments.
Yep. It takes away the limitations on fees that banks can charge to retailers for debit card transactions.
Right.
So they can up those and pass them. Retailers can pass those along.
It
to
takes
consumers.
regulation away from payday lenders and credit, those that issue credit.
Yep. I mean, if you just even look at just the front page summary, it's like, that's not good for the people, that's not good for the people, that's not good for the people.
FDIC, I think the amount of
authority they have
right.
over financial institution bankruptcy is being rewritten, gone. Yeah, it's basically, I mean, and the Republicans are doing such a good snow job just when you read their summary of things. Like, just
and
to
it
call
always,
it the Financial Choice Act is
disgusting. And it'll bring jobs, right? Bringing jobs to Main Street. When are they going to stop beating that dead horse that it's going to bring jobs to Main Street?
I don't know, because nothing they do seems to bring jobs to Main Street.
Oh my God, I'm so sick of hearing that.
I
every time somebody wants to shove something down your throat.
Jobs,
whether it's
economic growth,
a development, a toxic,
it's all about jobs.
Dumping ground or whatever, it's going to bring jobs to Main Street.
We won't buy that excuse
we don't want
any longer.
Jobs.
Not those kind of jobs. Not jobs that...
There are no jobs.
Well, and...
in terms of how this...
Did these guys forget what happened in 2008 when 10 million people lost their homes and 8 million people were out of job?
Speaking of jobs.
Right? I mean, it's... But yeah, this bill completely amends the Consumer Financial Protection Act of 2010, and it's disgusting.
Right.
It's horrible. And so we were all talking about Comey and,
While everybody was, glued to the TV watching the hearing, this was happening. This was being...
And then Speaker Ryan has this to say on his webpage.
Speaker Ryan.
Speaker.gov on his website. This is his press release. This is a jobs bill for Main Street. It will rein in the overreach of Dodd-Frank that has allowed the big banks to get bigger while small businesses have been unable to get the loans they need to succeed. He is so disgusting that he could turn this around. So he tweeted on June 2nd, "Next week the House will vote to dismantle Dodd-Frank. The era of taxpayer bailouts and too big to fail is over." Should we see what people responded?
Let's look at Paul Ryan's Twitter and see what got tweeted back.
Some of the stuff.
Yeah, some of it we can't say.
Dodd-Frank protected consumers. I don't trust you at all. You got to go. Stop the cowardly Ryan.
That was funny. Instead of the cowardly lion, the cowardly Ryan.
That's funny. You lying, shameless greedhead. You should try to fix things instead of dismantling them. You can't do your own breaking news. You're worse than the embarrassment in the Oval Office. You're a liar. And the people who believe you are the same people who will lose their houses again. When deregulated banks screw them over
again.
Ooh, like.
Yeah.
Clark.
So even though obviously no one's buying his nonsense. No one's buying any of this. So the good news, if there is obviously with this, is that people are awake now.
Yeah, unlike we weren't really in 2008.
We didn't know
this was all happening.
No, we didn't know. And I think people understand more of how banks function and how investments actually work, and
And this is setting these guys up to, if they fail, for them to even have less regulations so that they can reset up. And I don't know. There's nothing in here that I'm seeing was truly helping us. I didn't read all 500 and whatever
89 pages. What were you doing?
Trying to keep my sanity. Have a life.
What were you doing in that half hour you
Not
had?
much of one. My brain is jello from what I have read. But
So, one of the things that happened, and I know that I did, and I think it's probably a good idea for people to do, if you haven't already done that, is to move your money.
right, go to credit unions.
Go to a credit union or a state bank, but
Yeah.
move your money, because if this is, and don't get into things like payday loans and payday lenders and all of that kind of, it's just setting you up to get screwed over.
Yeah, yeah.
And by the way, you know who owns the payday lending organizations?
Who?
J.P. Morgan. Yeah,
Oh, I feel bad for anyone that has to use their services.
I know. But
That makes me
anyway,
sad.
so be careful of that. Be careful with credit cards. I would, if you can, I'd get rid of them. And but most of all, move your money.
Yeah.
Get your money out of those any banks that are connected to the Federal Reserve, or any well, all the banks are connected to the Federal Reserve, but any central banks
Any of the central
or any of
banks,
the
correct.
big banks.
Yeah, because the Financial Choice Act will deliver the regulatory relief that the banks so desperately need. The banks so desperately need relief.
So we'll change our communities.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because banks are the lifeblood of Main Street.
Right.
Paul Ryan, you don't know where Main Street is.
Yes, he does. He just doesn't live there. So, but
He would never drive down that street.
he better not now. But how much money did he get from lending from
Well, let's
financial
go check
institutions?
that out
I
on
think it was like
Open
over 3 million,
Secrets.
wasn't it?
Oh, yes.
3.4 million.
It was a lot. Paul Ryan, Open Secrets. Let's see here. I know that the Bank of America was like the number
Number 4, I think it was, wasn't it?
4 specific donor.
Mm-hmm.
But when you look at the industries contributing to his campaign committee, securities and investments,
Over
1.7 million.
Yeah.
Disgusting.
Yeah.
Disgusting.
So. Yeah.
that-
There you go.
You can always follow the money.
Follow the
and
money.
find out where their motivation really is, right?
And then follow your money and keep it safe.
Bank of America, in fact, was his top contributor
Yeah.
with $85,000 for 2016.
Yeah.
So that was last year.
Blackstone.
Yep. Nike. Still don't understand that one, but anyways, I'm Tanya,
And I'm Anna.
and we're the Paradise Patriots.
Move your money.
Aloha.
Aloha.